All right, today we're going to do lesson 711, add and subtract mixed numbers. Tim has 15 feet of wrapping paper. He uses 4 1/3 feet for his daughter's present, 5 3/8 feet for his niece's present. How much wrapping paper does he have left? Solve the problem any way you choose. So the first thing we're going to know is what he starts with is 15 feet of paper, and then he's going to use 4 1/3 and 5 3/8. So we want to find out how much does he have left. So we've got two different problems to solve. 4 1/3 plus 5 3/8. Looking for a common denominator, you can just multiply the 8 and 3 together, get 24. Finding equivalent fractions. 1/3, we're going to multiply that by 8 over 8 to get 8 24ths. 3/8 we'll multiply by 3 over 3 to get 9 24ths. 8 24ths and 9 24ths, 17 24ths. Add the whole numbers, 9 and 17 24ths. So our second problem, subtract 17 24ths from 15. And remember, we cannot borrow from nothing. So we're going to have to take one whole away from 15, bring it over as 24 over 24, so that we have common denominators. Remember, we want to make sure we bring it over into something so it's easy to work with. Now we're going to subtract 24 minus 17. And we get 7 24ths. Now we go back to our whole numbers. 14 minus 9 is 5. So our final answer is he has 5 and 7 24ths feet of wrapping paper left. So we had to do two different things to solve that problem. Moving on. Unless you can watch the video in Savvis. How can adding and subtracting mixed numbers help you solve a problem? Clarice has 2 lengths of fabric to make covers for a sofa and a chair. The covers require 9 2/3 yards of fabric. How much fabric will Clarice have left? So as we move on, first she's going to find out how much she has in all. So she's going to do some adding. And then she's going to subtract what she got, the amount she will use from the total length of the fabric that she has left. So she'll have 3 and 11 twelfths left at the end. Notice how she had to rename her fractions in both cases in order to solve the problem. Okay, in the example on page 432, how do you add? Why do you add before you subtract? Well, we add before we subtract because we want to find the total amount of fabric before you can subtract. And number 2, in the example on page 432, does Clarice have enough fabric left over to make 2 cushions that each use 2 1/3 yards of fabric? Explain. So if you need to figure out how much does she need. So 2 1/3 plus 2 1/3 would equal 4 2/3. And 4 2/3 is way more than what she had left, was 3 and 11 twelfths. So no, she won't have enough. All right, now we'll do some of the computation. You make sure you have a good work area and rewrite the problems if you need. Silly me. Rewrite the problems if you need to. Accidentally hit the space bar. Okay, 5 1/9. Try that again. Minus 2 2/3. Our rules, are the denominators different? Are they the same? No. Are they different? Yes. So we're going to need to see, does one go into another? Is one a multiple? We only need to rename the bottom one. And we're going to multiply that 3 times 3. Now, unfortunately, on this one, we can't take 6 away from 1. So just to make our life more miserable, we're going to have to borrow. And remember, I'm borrowing as a ninth over here because I'm working in the ninth. So I'm going to borrow 1 as 9 ninths. So 10 ninths minus 6 ninths is 4 ninths, and go back to our whole numbers. So I have 2 and 4 ninths for number 3. Let's see if I can squeeze number 4 in down here. 2 and 1/4 plus 8 and 2/3. Those denominators are different. 3 is a prime number, so I'm just going to multiply them together to get my new denominator. And when I find my equivalent fractions, 4 times 3 is 12, times 1 times 3 is 3. 3 times 4 is 12, so 2 times 4 is 8. Add them together. I have 11/12, and add my whole numbers, 10 and 11/12. For number 5, 6 and 7/25, minus 3 and 9/50. I know that 50 is a multiple of 25, so I'm going to leave that fraction alone and just turn that into 14/50. And I know 25 times 2 is 50, so 7 times 2 is 14. So that's my renamed fraction. Thankfully, I can subtract on this one. 14 minus 9 is 5/50. So I have 3 and 5/50, which we remember when we have a number that's so big like that. Let's see if we can try to show it in smaller terms. And we can. So I have 3 and 1/10. That's the best way to show that answer. And number 6, 4 and 3/5, 11 and 2/15. I can leave the one denominator alone. 5 times 3 is 15, so 3 times 3 is 9. 9 plus 2 is 11. So I have 15 and 11/15. For number 7, 8 and 2/3, minus 3 and 3/4. Common multiple of 3 and 4 is 12. 4 times 3 is 12, so 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4 is 12, so 2 times 4 is 8. I'm subtracting here. I can't take 9 away from 8, so I'm going to have to borrow. I'm going to borrow as 12ths. So I wind up with 20 12ths minus 9 12ths. Is 11 12ths, sorry. So, and my whole numbers, I have 4 and 11/12. And which number am I now? Okay, number 8. 8's got a couple different steps to it. I'll do what's inside the parentheses first, and then we'll take care of what's outside. So trying to add these, I can multiply the 3 times 5, and I get a common multiple of 15. 5 times 3 is 15. 4 times 3 is 12. 3 times 5 is 15. 2 times 5 is 10. 22/15. 10 and 22/15. Haven't seen one of these in a while. Improper fraction. I think I'm going to leave that alone right now. And I'm just going to subtract out my other value. So I have 10 and 22/15 minus 1 and 4/15. So 22 minus 4 is 18/15. 9 and 18/15. Now I'll reduce. So 15 goes into 18. Remember, trying to turn that into a mixed number and not an improper fraction. So 15 goes into 18 once. And I have 3 little guys left over. So my answer is going to be 9 plus 1 and 3/15, which will be a total of 10 and 3/15. And 3/15, if you feel like being middle school, you can show that in lowest terms. So my final answer would be 10 and 1/5. Ooh, that's a lot of work. It's a lot of work for a 5th grader, in my humble opinion. Okay, we're going to do for number 9, in the parentheses first, 2/3, 3 and 2/3 plus 2 and 3/5. Look for a common denominator. I'll multiply 3 and 5 and get 15. 3 times 5 is 15. 2 times 5 is 10. 5 times 3 is 15. 3 times 3 is 9. add my numerators, bring down my denominators. I've got an improper fraction again, so I'm going to have 1 and 4/15. 5 plus 1 and 4/15. Oops, I'm subtracting here. Let me see, what did I do? Yeah, I guess I could. 6 and 4/15. So now I've got to go back to my subtraction. It's another whole problem here because I got to get that little 8 and 2/5 common denominator. Good, I don't have to borrow on this one at least. 2/15. 2 and 2/15 is my final answer. Again, a lot of work for a fifth grader. And there you go.